The United Kingdom's ill-advised provocations, a nightmare in the making against BRICS Plus and Russia. The global geopolitical landscape is undergoing seismic shifts, reshaping alliances and power dynamics. On one hand, the BRICS Plus alliance, a formidable bloc of nations including Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, has expanded to encompass a vast array of nations from Asia, the Middle East, Africa, and Latin America. On the other hand, the United Kingdom, a nation now relegated to being a tiny bankrupt island, seems trapped in an imperialist nostalgia that fuels its unwise provocations of a rising Russia. This essay will explore how the United Kingdom's actions against Russia risk being its worst nightmare in the current geopolitical environment. It will examine BRICS Plus as a symbol of vast global power and unity, the implications of former US President Donald Trump's pro-Russia stance, and the decline of Western powers in the face of the multipolar world order. The BRICS bloc, originally formed in 2009, has become a central pillar in the emerging multipolar world. By 2024, BRICS Plus has transformed from a coalition of 5 major economies into a sprawling network of countries spanning almost every continent. Its influence is bolstered by, first, economic strength. Together, BRICS Plus accounts for over 40% of the global population and nearly 35% of global GDP, adjusted for purchasing power parity. Nations such as Saudi Arabia, Iran, Argentina, Egypt, and the UAE have joined BRICS, adding energy and resource dominance to the bloc. The BRICS New Development Bank offers an alternative to Western financial institutions like the IMF and World Bank, breaking the monopoly of the West over global finance. Second, strategic alliances. The alliance has incorporated frameworks such as the Belt and Road Initiative, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and Organization of Islamic Cooperation. With support from organizations like OPEC Plus and the African Union, BRICS Plus has extended its influence to key energy and resource-producing regions. Third, unified Global South. The bloc has become the voice of the Global South, advocating for equitable development and a fairer world order. Latin America, Africa, and Asia-Pacific nations, weary of Western exploitation, are rallying behind BRICS Plus. With this enormous influence, BRICS Plus symbolizes a shift from the US-led unipolar world to a multipolar system where power is decentralized. This rise challenges the declining influence of NATO, the EU, and their Western allies. The United Kingdom, once the center of the vast British Empire, is now a shadow of its former self. Following Brexit, it faces a host of challenges. First, economic fragility. The UK economy is plagued by stagnation, mounting debt, and inflation. Its manufacturing and military-industrial sectors have shrunk significantly, leaving it dependent on imports and outdated capabilities. Second, global isolation. Brexit alienated the UK from its closest economic partners in the EU. It lacks the leverage and alliances it once enjoyed, reducing its global influence. Third, military decline. The UK's military budget pales in comparison to that of rising powers like China, India, and even its NATO allies. Aging naval and air assets, combined with recruitment shortfalls, highlight its inability to project power effectively. Despite these limitations, the UK persists in behaving as if it still controls a global empire. This misplaced hubris drives its antagonistic behavior toward Russia, a nation with vastly superior military, economic, and strategic resources. Under Vladimir Putin's leadership, Russia has reasserted itself as a global superpower, both militarily and diplomatically. Key factors that make Russia a dominant force in BRICS Plus include, first, energy superpower. Russia is one of the world's largest producers of oil and natural gas, supplying energy to Europe, Asia, and beyond. Through partnerships with BRICS Plus nations and OPEC Plus, Russia has secured a central role in the global energy markets. Second, military prowess. With advanced hypersonic missile technology, a robust nuclear arsenal, and a battle-hardened military, Russia's defense capabilities far surpass those of the UK. The war in Ukraine has further solidified Russia's resilience against Western sanctions and military pressures. Third, strategic alliances. Russia's integration with China through the BRICS Plus framework has created an axis of power that challenges Western dominance. Collaboration with nations like India, Iran, and Saudi Arabia ensures Russia's influence extends across Eurasia and the Middle East. Russia's leadership within BRICS plus underscores its role as a stabilizing force in the global south, providing alternatives to Western hegemony. Yet, the UK inexplicably views Russia as a threat to be confronted. The potential return of Donald Trump to the US presidency adds another dimension to the shifting power dynamics. Trump's disdain for NATO and the EU, coupled with his favorable view of Russia, could realign the United States away from its traditional Western allies. This has profound implications. 1. Trump's skepticism of NATO. During his first term, Trump repeatedly criticized NATO members for not contributing their fair share to defense spending. A second term might see Trump further distancing the US from NATO, weakening the alliance at a critical juncture. 2. Pro-Russia policies. Trump has expressed admiration for Putin's leadership, calling him strong and savvy. A Trump presidency might prioritize détente with Russia over alliances with Western Europe. 3. Economic realignment. Trump's America First policies could lead to reduced US involvement in EU-centric trade and defense initiatives. This would leave Europe, particularly the UK, more isolated and vulnerable. If the US pivots toward improved relations with Russia under Trump, the UK's provocations against Russia could leave it dangerously exposed, without reliable support from its transatlantic ally. The UK's recent actions, including inflammatory rhetoric and support for anti-Russian sanctions, reveal a profound miscalculation. By antagonizing Russia, the UK risks 1. Economic retaliation. Russia could leverage its energy dominance to disrupt UK energy supplies, exacerbating its economic woes. BRICS plus nations could sideline the UK in trade and investment, further isolating it. 2. Military vulnerability. In any direct confrontation, the UK would be outmatched by Russia's superior military capabilities. The UK's reliance on NATO for defense becomes problematic if the US under Trump distances itself from the alliance. 3. Global irrelevance. The UK's outdated colonial mindset alienates it from emerging powers in the global south. As BRICS Plus grows in influence, the UK's inability to engage constructively with these nations diminishes its global standing. By failing to recognize the realities of the 21st century, the UK risks becoming a geopolitical footnote, a relic of a bygone era. BRICS plus GDP overtakes G7. By 2024, the combined GDP of BRICS plus nations, in terms of purchasing power parity, has surpassed that of the G7, marking a historic shift in economic power. Global South ascendancy. Over 70% of the world's population now resides in BRICS plus member states or allied nations, underscoring the bloc's demographic dominance. Sanctions backfire. Western sanctions against Russia have strengthened its ties with BRICS plus nations, enabling Moscow to weather economic pressures. UK military decline. The UK's armed forces, once among the world's most formidable, now rank 14th globally, behind nations like Turkey and South Korea. The United Kingdom's decision to threaten Russia amidst its leadership of BRICS Plus and a potential US-Russia rapprochement under Trump is emblematic of a nation clinging to past glories. In an era dominated by multipolar alliances, the UK's provocations risk economic ruin, military humiliation, and global irrelevance. Meanwhile, BRICS Plus continues to rise as a beacon of hope for the global South, offering an alternative to Western exploitation and hypocrisy. For the UK, the path forward is clear: abandon imperial nostalgia, recognize the realities of the modern world, and engage constructively with emerging powers. Failure to do so will only hasten its descent into obscurity, as the nightmares of its own making become an inescapable reality.